Hi guys, my name is Nick Carroll and these are my thoughts on being introverted and or shy. So in this video I wanted to touch on a topic that is somewhat important to me. It's over an issue that I've had to deal with for the last few decades myself. I learned in my early teens that I was apparently an introvert, and it's something that I've digested over the decades, the years, etc. And I've learned a lot about myself in time, but I've sort of put this topic, you know, on the back burner forever in terms of dealing with it personally. I've always just thought, well, I'm an introvert. I'll just kind of deal with being shy and quiet, etc., and not worry about it. But over the last several years, I've begun to sort of be a little more reclusive, be a little bit more socially awkward, etc. And I've had a hard time, dealing with that aspect of myself because I've always considered myself to be somewhat like fun and outgoing and not terribly introverted, but just coming to terms with this has been something I've wanted to do for the longest time. So I wanted to sort of relay in this video my personal struggles a little bit, but also just sort of maybe speak to others who might feel similar to me that may not have really considered themselves an introvert and maybe just didn't know. So I'm going to go ahead and start off by reading the dictionary definition and also some of the things that Wikipedia mentions, and then I'll basically just branch off from there. So here goes the part with the dictionary. So the dictionary, essentially, Google.com, and you look up introvert. This is essentially what it'll tell you. Introvert is a shy, reticent, and typically self-centered person. A person predominantly concerned with their own thoughts and feelings rather than with external things. And I agree with that to a fair extent. I've watched a number of videos from other introverts out there, and some of them disagree with the concept of being shy as being an inherent part of being an introvert. They look at themselves as, well, I'm not shy at all. I'm just introverted. And so there's this dichotomy where being introverted is something different than being shy. And something I'll touch on a little bit later. And Wikipedia, I'm going to read a few quick sentences in terms of what it tends to describe introverts and extroverts. So in particular, introverts. So introversion is manifested in more reserved and solitary behavior. Extroversion and introversion are typically viewed as either a single continuum, or everyone has both an extroverted side and an introverted side, with one being more dominant than the other. Some people look at it as how people derive a sort of personal, physical, or mental energy, whereby introverts receive energy internally and lose it when socializing with others, and extroverts receive energy by socializing with others and lose it essentially when they're alone. And this is how a lot of people who describe themselves as introverts use that concept and how it relates to shy. Like they may not be shy or not want, they may not be afraid of talking to others per se, but they're not very, but like when they do socialize with others, it's how energy is being used. Like when you're out in public, you're just hanging out, having a good time, or it's this mentally draining experience or physically draining experience. And so they may not necessarily be shy or afraid of dealing with people. They just don't, the way they look at it is when they're out in public, actually talking with people, it's like they're burning or losing energy and being in this, audience, essentially being surrounded by other people that are maybe looking at them, and it takes energy to sort of deal with that. Whereas extroverts, they seem to somehow pull energy from being in a social experience in terms of the more people around them, the more they like being the center of attention, and they're talking or whatever. And it's this, dichotomy that I am not sure I agree with. I'm not sure, as a self-described introvert or someone who's in the very least introverted and shy, I'm not sure that I necessarily feel drained of energy when I'm out with others, or when I'm alone that I somehow gain energy, or vice versa. And so I have a hard time, as someone that recognizes himself as being introverted, I don't socialize as much with others. I don't feel personally that it's related to energy. Um, that's just me. I have been in some situations, like at a friend's wedding, uh, you know, a few months ago, where I did feel very mentally drained being there the whole time. But I felt like I was on alert the whole time, talking with maybe 2 or 3 people that I hadn't talked with in years, and wasn't terribly familiar with them. And it was a very loud environment, and it was hard to hear them. Uh, and it was also, I do not have a very loud voice, so I felt like I had to yell in order to be heard in a number of these situations where we're inside a loud hall, essentially, building with hundreds of other people. And I felt very drained at the end of that. But I didn't feel I was drained because of dealing with people, but I also didn't, gain any energy by being around people. I just felt like I'd spent a lot of time on alert, trying to listen in a loud place and speak in a loud place. So I mean, that's how I viewed it. And there's a third class of person I was unaware of until recently, until I started researching this in the last month, called an ambivert, where they're just sort of, they're fairly comfortable with out in the public, and they're also fairly comfortable being alone. They don't really fit this mold so much. I don't know. So I'm not even sure if I fall into that. But anyways, that's part of what I wanted to talk about. Also, I wanted to talk briefly about being shy. Now, I won't go through the whole bit of reading through the dictionary and Wikipedia that much on this, but essentially, um, being shy is apparently being reserved, or showing nervousness or timidity in the company of other people. I have somewhat felt that as well. I feel like I'm somewhat introverted and shy, but I'm not yet sure if those are mutually exclusive terms. I'm not sure you can be an introvert and not shy, or an extrovert and shy. Like, to me, those seem like completely opposite ends of a spectrum, so to speak. So, but I do feel that I am somewhat shy around others, and it's not so much that I dislike being around others. I just feel like I'm not good at talking to others. Like, if someone comes up to me, even who I might know or have known in the past, and they say hi, I feel like I've got nothing to say to them. And I feel it's different than what a lot of people describe as being introverted or shy. It's more of a matter of, like, as I've gotten older, I feel like I've been more aware of my mortality, more aware of the limitations of being human, and that, like, I'm 42 now, and I just feel like I've got less free time to burn. I have more to do before I'm unable to do stuff. I feel like I've got maybe a shortened window of opportunity. And this sort of feeling sort of permeates how I deal with people. So, like, when someone says hi to me, I'm not able to properly bring up small talk. And I feel like small talk in and of itself is meaningless talk, like a waste of time, a waste of effort. Like, there's nothing I get out of it. But here's this person coming up to me saying hi for whatever reason. They're in the same room as me, they're coming to get something, or whatever. And, I can't conversate with them, and I feel like I've got nothing to relate to them, nothing to say that means anything to them. And I feel like it's a waste of my time and energy, and a waste of their time and energy, to engage in conversation that doesn't accomplish anything. Talking about the weather, or, oh, how about that local sports team, or, whatever. A lot of that's not important to me in such an extent that I can say anything revelatory about what has occurred at, the last game, or, it's now colder because it's winter, or, oh, it's raining outside. Like, there's nothing important that I can say about that, so it's like I don't have small talk. I'm fairly organized, I'm fairly, clean, I'm fairly, like, straightforward, very simplistic. I live a Spartan lifestyle personally, and I don't have a lot going on per se. So I feel like, you know, I'm, not saying anything of any value when I try to engage in small talk. And, this is something that I've encountered over the years. I feel like, other people around me, they talk, they have a good time, they bring up, whatever. And I've got nothing really to say because it doesn't matter to me. And I feel like, I'm more withdrawn, but I don't, you can kind of tell here that I don't fully have a grasp on this whole thing, and that's partly why I'm doing this video. I'm trying to relate to others what I'm feeling and thinking about this, but I don't completely know. So, you know, I feel a lot of times when people are talking, they're talking about something they're dissatisfied with, or they're venting, or whatever. And I've been in situations around people where literally all they do is complain, and that's what they're preoccupied. The only thing that interests them is complaining to others about something. They went to the store and something happened, and blah blah blah, or this one person cut them off in traffic, and blah blah so and so, or whatever. It can be anything. And or this person was having a conversation with some other person. This other person just didn't get it, or so on and so forth. Or I don't understand how that person did this or that, the other thing. On and on and on. And I feel like that conversation doesn't have any value in and of itself, even though to them it's very important and, revelatory in terms of what they have to provide to others. But, I'm looking at it from an objective view, and it's like, it doesn't really matter. I don't really have anything to say about that. Or, okay, interesting that you feel that way. Okay, I'm going to go on with my life. And that's just what it is. It's not like I dislike people. It's not like I dislike talking about issues that are important to me, but I feel like what's important to me isn't important to others. And so when I'm talking about something that matters to me, others are like, oh, I wish this guy would finish talking so I can go back to doing whatever. And it's that sort of experience. And I feel like I have a lot of things that are similar to others in terms of like interests and desires and whatever. But, I don't know. I'm very conflicted about how this whole experience is. And the thing is, this mentality or nature, this mentality that I have, or this nature of myself, whatever, has negative consequences. It puts me lower on the totem pole in terms of promotion. People don't want to hang out with me. Like a lot of my friends at work, they'll socialize with others. They'll go on smoke breaks, or even if they don't smoke, they'll go and hang out with others and talk, in other departments where maybe they'll be promoted. And I'm just some guy that works there, and nobody knows me outside of my department or the few people that work directly with me. And so I'm not on anyone's radar for promotions, like other departments, for example. So it also has an impact at the house, where I don't dedicate a lot of my time talking and explaining things to others and dictating things to others. And so, like if I try to get my wife or kids to do certain things, wash the dishes, clean your room, or whatever, go take a bath, go do whatever. It's like I go off and do my own thing, and then people don't do what they're supposed to do. But I feel like it's draining me physically and mentally to some extent to basically stand there and watch them and make sure they do everything they're doing, and essentially administrate or orchestrate or manage, my family. That I feel like that's kind of a foreign concept to me. I shouldn't have to, part of being a parent is, telling your kids what to do, and maybe telling the other parent, hey, we need to work together on this, that, and other thing. But part of it's like, you should be doing this already on your own. I shouldn't have to get involved telling you this. So it's that kind of thing that I have to deal with at the house. So I feel like if I were more extroverted, I'd be hanging out in the living room more often, and constantly being more involved and getting people to do what they're supposed to do. I'd be hanging out with the kids more and getting them to do what they're supposed to do, but I feel like, what about my life? When do I have the time to do what I want to do, what's important to me? When do I have a chance to watch what I want to watch, read what I want to read? So, those are the things I deal with as an introvert at the house. It's not just about at work. Because my coworkers, they only know about me at work, because I don't tell them every little bit of aspect that I'm dealing with at the house. And when I'm at the house, conversely, I don't tell them about all the little nuances of everything that goes on at work, because it doesn't apply to them. As a network technician, none of that matters, to my 12-year-old son or 9-year-old daughter. None of that matters, to my wife, who doesn't do anything like that. So it's hard to relate those kind of intrinsic things that occur at work to them. I could always talk about, oh, a friend X said this to me today and we laughed about that. That's the kind of stuff you can relate, but have a hard time relating these things to people. So as an introvert slash shy person, I've got my own challenges in communicating with others and feeling like I can communicate something that means something to them, to where when they're listening to what I'm saying, it matters to them and it's important to them. And it's all about relating to other people. And if you're an introvert or shy person, it's harder to relate to people or more people, or maybe it takes more out of you or whatever. I don't fully understand the nature of being introverted or being shy. I just know that I follow along those lines and I'm trying to deal with it. But I'm failing miserably at doing it, because it's not like I lack the ability to speak. It's not like I cannot articulate. It's not like I'm not, fairly intelligent, college educated, multiple IT certifications. I've been IT professional for nearly 20 years. Um, it's not like I'm dumb, but I feel like I'm dumb in the ways of communicating with others. And this is a problem I want to try to solve, but I can't figure out what aspects to work on to try to fix that. So that's basically what I'm dealing with. Is I know I'm introverted, I know I'm shy, but how do I conquer that? How do I relate better to my family, my friends, my coworkers, other people that work with me but have no relationship other than I deal with them in tickets or chat or whatever, or maybe the person, on another gas pump. I'm pumping gas, someone's on the other end, they say something and I say something back, or I'm at a break room at work and someone says, hey, how's it going? And I tell them how it is going and how that might matter to them, or how they might find something insightful or humorous or meaningful in that conversation. So I feel like time is short, and how do I say things that are important to other people? How can I teach people something that matters to them, or to where they learn something from me, that it impacts their life in a positive way? Like, oh, that's good to know. I did not know that. Maybe I can do something differently. I feel like in a lot of ways I'm looked at as being, mean in chat or emails, because I ask certain people to do certain things that I feel they should be doing, and that's my side of the story, and their side of the story as well. I'm trying to get this information or get this done or whatever, and there's this conflict, because what I want is different than what they want, and what I require is different than what they're providing, or vice versa. And how do I communicate in such a way that doesn't offend people by my requests or whatever? So that's my challenge. Why is communication my number one challenge in life at this age? Why haven't I figured this out? I feel a lot of other introverts feel the same way, or a lot of other shy people. They want to talk with others, at least to some extent. They want to socialize to some extent. Maybe they're not as antisocial or shy as others think they should be, yet they can't quite articulate what they want to others. I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't have any answers here. This isn't a problem that I've solved. It's not something that I've been able to troubleshoot and look at different aspects of it and then work out solutions for any of this. I just don't know. So I just wanted to create this video to let others know that, okay, yes, there's a lot of us that are introverts. Maybe 20 to 50% of the population are introverted. If you go by maybe a sliding scale or a spectrum, there's a chunk of this entire spectrum. Part of it, to some extent, is introverted. Part of it, to other extent, is extroverted. Maybe there's people in the middle that are ambiverts. Maybe there's an equal equal number of extroverts that have problems with being so extroverted that they require so much attention from others to feel like they're getting the energy they need or whatever. Like one of my daughters is so extroverted, like the complete opposite of me, that she cannot help but constantly talk and interject, and she's very dramatic, like the phrase drama queen, might apply to her. And I don't mean it to be negative, it's just that she constantly has to be the center of attention, and she can't be alone in a room. Like being alone in a room is like punishment, even if she's watching a show that she wants to watch, or she's watching YouTube, or she's playing with the toys that she wants to play. Because she's in that room and no one else is around there for her to interact, it's a problem for her. So we as introverts don't need to look at this as, oh, we're this somewhat small portion of the population and others look down on us because we don't, relate to others as well, or we're so shy and quiet and what's wrong with us. Well, there's the other end of that spectrum, or there are other people out there that fall on the other side that are so requiring of the attention of others. They have to be with others, and that's a problem in and of itself. You can have too much of another, too much of something else, bad attention or whatever that you just need to have, that being without it, is an issue. So those people have their own issues to deal with. What do they have to do if they're working a solitary job where the bulk of their time is not talking with others? How do they deal with the pressures of being alone for so long? It's not just about being introverted, and all the bad things that come from being shy or antisocial or whatever. It's from requiring that just to get the most out of life. Maybe a lot of the thrill seekers, or the people that are just, seeking fame, maybe those are people on that other end of the spectrum that are trying so hard. But I do kind of hope that a lot of people that aren't introverts realize that there's nothing wrong with being introverted, but I don't know, I'm kind of going off on a tangent there. Anyways, alright, well, this is one of the longest videos I've ever made. I know for most people they'll find this subject boring, and they're honestly not going to watch all the way through, and I don't blame them. And I expect even a lot of introverts to probably feel like they have all the answers. This video is really not for them as much, but this is a little bit of an outlet for me, in terms of how I relate to others, and it's an exercise to some extent for me to get better at communicating verbally. So anyways, if you like this video, you're welcome to like it. If you want to see more videos from me, you're always welcome to subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.